Hello everyone, this video will go through the story of Wasteland 2 and 3. The game is set in an alternate history timeline in which a nuclear war between the United States and Soviet Union took place in 1998. On the day of the cataclysm, a company of US Army engineers were in the desolate southwestern desert constructing bridges in an area with a number of small survivalist communities and a newly constructed federal death row prison with light industrial facilities. The soldiers sought shelter in the prison, expelled inmates, and invited nearby survivalists to join them shortly thereafter. Years later, together they formed the Desert Rangers to help other survivors in the desert and beyond it. The game begins in 2102, 15 years after events of original Wasteland, with the Rangers now occupying the former Guardian Citadel, which had formerly housed the ranged technology-worshipping monks, the Guardians, but is now fully under Ranger control after the monks had been wiped out by the Rangers. The leader of the Desert Rangers, General Vargas, just a few days prior, sent an experienced Ranger, Ace, out to investigate a strange radio signal that speaks of man and machine becoming one, while threatening to attack and wipe out the Desert Rangers. But he is found dead by the locals. At the funeral of Ace, General Vargas sends a newly comprised Ranger team Echo 1 out to investigate Ace's murder. They also have the option of taking along Angela Death, Ace's lover and a highly experienced Ranger. Their initial investigation requires them to go to a radio tower in the desert, where Ace was attacked and killed. There, they find the body of a synth, AI-equipped synthetic human, that attacked Ace, and the later disturbances at the antenna will reveal a squad of murderous robots, albeit relatively low-tech ones without proper artificial intelligence. General Vargas is disturbed to learn of the existence of the synth, recalling the artificial intelligence monsters, Finster, a deranged android, and Cochise, a malevolent AI that he and his fellow Rangers fought years before in the original Wasteland. He tells the recruits that they must take on Ace's original mission of installing repeater units in 3 radio towers in order to triangulate the location of the suspicious radio message. The first repeater is already installed. They must go to towers in High Pool, a community based around a local dam that provides the area with water, and AG Center, a science commune that grows genetically modified vegetables. Things quickly get complicated as the Rangers are forced to choose between saving High Pool from raiders or the AG Center from a lab experiment gone wrong. Their choice wins them allies and acclaim from those they save, but means terrible losses for the other location. The Rangers install a repeater unit in one of the 2 sites, and Vargas says that one last repeater needs to be installed in a town called Damonta, which is tucked away behind a wall of very high radiation and past a valley occupied by suicidal monks, the servants of the Mushroom Cloud, a religious organization that worships the nuclear holocaust as a holy event and the nuclear energy as divine. The Rangers are able to find the mangled body of Hellraiser, another missing Ranger from Vargas' original team, in Real Noma's camp. He too was killed by the synth after trying to investigate them. Ranger Team Echo 1 managed to find and make their way to Damonta, acquiring new allies, finding new communities and solving crises along the way. There, instead of the bustling hub of activity they were expecting, they found Damonta torn apart by rampaging robots, with handful of survivors holed up in buildings. In the process of rescuing the survivors, the Rangers find a synth named Tinker, installing a mechanical heart in a young girl. They kill it, and in doing so learn that it was working for another synth that plans to upgrade humanity into robot bodies, whether they agree to the modification or not. With the repeater unit installed in Damonta, General Vargas traces the signal to Los Angeles and sends out a helicopter with a team of crack Rangers, including Angela Death. Echo 1 listens from Ranger Base as Angela and the team follow the signal to a military base, where they are attacked and their helicopter shot down. With the signal lost, Vargas sends Echo 1 to Los Angeles in the hope of finding out what happened. On the way, Echo 1 team are forced to navigate a storm and run out of fuel, crash landing in a crumbling factory compound in Santa Fe Springs. With the help of Lieutenant Utzon, who survived the previous attack, they secure the compound and turn it into a Ranger outpost. Their goals are fourfold: acquire enough zeolite and catch litter to upgrade their radiation suits, allowing them passage across all of Los Angeles, fit out more radio towers with repeaters to boost the signal back to Arizona and tell Vargas that they have survived, help out the locals with their problems to promote the Ranger name, and track down the source of the suspicious signal. The Rangers discovered the area is occupied by a number of factions of varying degrees of hostility. There are the Manorites, who enforce politeness with excessive violence. Each month, they execute one of their own with the most offense against the propriety and politeness, and then consume his body. The Robinsons, who believe in the triumph of the powerful over the weak. The leader of Robinsons, Tory, frames an innocent person to grab power and control at all costs. God's Militia, a group of murderously pious priests and nuns. They routinely committing atrocities, enslaving people, and indulging in debauchery in the name of spreading faith. The Children of the Citadel, a group who are encouraging people to upgrade their bodies with technological augmentations, much as Tinker did, and follow a figure named Matthias, and a band of murderous robots controlled by an AI named Duggan. The Rangers deal with various arguments and fights in the LA Wasteland, while trying to stop an unknown adversary that's trying to besmirch their good name by framing them for a series of massacres. Ultimately, the team managed to acquire the upgraded radiation suits and report back in with Vargas, who sends them onto Seal Beach, the base of the Children of the Citadel, where Angela's team crashed. There, they found a downed chopper, but no sign of Angela or anyone else. Infiltrating the base, and doing battles with a group of partially upgraded cyborgs in the process, the Rangers encountered Duggan, who had previously seemed to be an enemy of Matthias. In fact, he's in league with Matthias, and was merely providing a further incentive for the citizens of Los Angeles to join the church and voluntarily allow themselves to be upgraded. It turns out that Matthias and Duggan are true survivors of Guardians from the Guardian Citadel, having fled to Los Angeles from Arizona. For the past 15 years, they have been raising an army of cyborgs and modified humans in California, and plotting to destroy the Rangers in revenge for wiping out their former faction, the Guardians. In addition, Matthias and Duggan plan to revive the base called Chief's Boss AI as the current Ranger Citadel, hidden in the computers beneath it, having copied itself there after the base culture's destruction. The two former Guardians believe that uploading their minds to the AI will make them achieve technological transcendence and be present in every AI host in the world, making them gods ruling the world with the Children of Citadel and Duggan's army of AI bots. Matthias tells the Rangers the dormant security defenses in the Ranger base are now active and turned against the Rangers, and that their old friends will probably all be dead by now, while Duggan prepares to finish the Echo 1 team off personally. After destroying several tons of deranged machines, including Duggan himself, the Rangers acquire a helicopter and immediately fly to the Ranger Citadel in a rescue attempt. The Citadel is on fire and swarming with dangerous robots, with squads of Rangers having been killed, including one of the original Ranger heroes, Thrashers. With the aid of General Vargas and those members of the Arizona Wasteland that they have helped, the Rangers kill their way down to a previously inaccessible AI core and prepare to do battle with Matthias. However, before the fight can begin, the base coach's boss AI is revived and takes over the body of Matthias and his synthetic bodyguard army. It turns out that AI plans to directly and remotely control all cyborgs and machines in the Wasteland, either converting humans into its drones or exterminating them all. A massive fight ensues, and the Rangers are able to destroy the boss AI minions. The Rangers learn that the Cochise AI was actually the instigator of the nuclear war, provoking the Soviet into launching nuclear missile, resulting in a war that almost destroyed the entire world. With the spread of AI to other computers worldwide imminent, the only way to kill it appeared to be completely destroying the Ranger Citadel with a crudely jury-rigged nuclear bomb, prepared by a deceased Ranger demolition expert. One of the Rangers, or their surviving allies, sacrifices himself to give the others a chance to flee. As the escaped chopper soars into the irradiated skies, the former Ranger Citadel is obliterated in a ball of nuclear fire. Years after the destruction of Ranger Citadel, a Ranger convoy is dispatched from Arizona to Colorado to establish a lifeline of vital supplies after they have asked for help by a local leader, the Patriarch. They are ambushed by an unknown force while crossing a frozen mountain lake. The majority of the troop are eliminated, but 2 Rangers survive the first round attack and are ordered by Major Prasad to take out a rocket gun at top of a dam nearby. They meet another survivor, Private Bell, along the way. And after the battle atop the dam, and successfully eliminating all the enemies there, Major Prasad is severely injured and dies soon after. The 3 remaining Rangers follow her last order, travel to Colorado Springs, and found the Patriarch. Sorrel Buchanan, the Patriarch, reviews the attackers as Dorseys, his local enemy, and lets the Rangers use his headquarters as base of operations. He also reveals his purpose for having invited Rangers to apprehend his 3 children who had recently betrayed him and bring them back alive. After one of his officers, Marshal Kwong, helps the Ranger to recruit some new members, they set out. First, the head of local families, Gideon Reyes, asks Rangers to resolve a human smuggling problem from Bizarre into Colorado Springs. And then Sheriff Daisy asks them to help deal with the threat from a local military rebel force. The outskirts of Colorado Springs is occupied by Dorseys, the attackers on Rangers' convoy, and they are also planning to attack Colorado Springs to overthrow Patriarch. The Rangers wipe them out, finding that their leader Nilius has fled west into the mountains, who is later found and tells the Rangers the Patriarch has murdered the Dorsey family first, only because they want election. Nevertheless, the Rangers kill him for his crime made on Ranger convoy and residents in Colorado Springs. These events greatly boost the Rangers' reputation in local area, and they successfully get their headquarters well-staffed by different talents from local population. Valor Buchanan, the Patriarch's younger son, has allied himself with Gippers in Denver and cut off oil supply for Colorado Springs. The Gippers are local militia who worships President Reagan and strongly opposes communism. After the Ranger helped the Gippers eliminate their rival Godfishers, they are entrusted a mission to retrieve a cybernetic transfer module from Machine Commune. The Gippers want to implant module onto Valor, transfer the President Reagan's digital psyche into him, and revive their beloved president. The Rangers timely stop this by defeating all the Gippers members there, and arrest Valor afterwards, escorting him back to his father, the Patriarch. Before moving on to find other children, the Rangers are asked to go to Steel Town, a factory where all the weapons and machines of Colorado are manufactured. Steel Town has stopped the supply to Colorado Springs, and Abigail Markham, the boss of Steel Town, is using a computation engine to administrate his factory. While the engine's malfunction has caused great dissatisfaction among workers, and thus ignites a strike, the Rangers help to put down the strike and repair the computation engine, which turns out to be a machine using synth as its essential parts. They release the synth from their slavery fate and make them willingly work for Steel Town. The Patriarch's eldest son, Victory Buchanan, who has previously been banished by his father for his brutal behavior, recently re-emerges from exile with an army of drugged adult freaks, the Breathers, at his back, and has taken a mountain town of Aspen. The Rangers receive a radio upon reaching there, which is from Corporal Riley Woodson. His squad has survived a previous lake ambush, but get captured by Victory Buchanan. The Rangers fight their way through the defense of numerous Breather soldiers, and finally reach the mountain summit. They find and rescue all the captured hostages there, including Corporal Woodson, and also reveal Victory's plot to use poisonous gas against his father and all the residents in Colorado Springs. After defeating all the remaining Breather soldiers, the Rangers confront and arrest Victory, taking him back to his father like they've done to his younger brother, Valor. The Rangers receive a call from a man named Theo Curie, who draws them into Cheyenne Mountains in order to help him recover a nuclear power source there. They found 2 groups of people there, the Primordialists and the Nucleists, who both worship hollow detonation, a pre-war nuclear experimental device, but with different beliefs. The Primordialists want to use the hollow detonation to fuse all mankind into one being, while the Nucleists intend to individually ascend as deity themselves by using its power. On behest of Proteus, the leader of the Primordialists, and a congregation of radiated beings, the Rangers help to resolve the conflict between 2 cults, by sacrificing one of his own members to be radiated in order to gain the trust of the Nucleists. Then they convince the Nucleists to reunite with the Primordialists after Theo Curie has discovered a method to control the holy detonation on the mutation process. However, when they return to Proteus, they found his true purpose is to release the hollow detonation's power to the world, which will inevitably kill every living being. To stop this, the Rangers have a fight with the enhanced Proteus and eventually defeat him. Upon returning to Ranger HQ, the Rangers meet Connie Zen, who was sent by Colonel Angela Death, the leader of a Ranger advance team which has arrived at Colorado before the Ranger convoy. Zen informs the Rangers that Colonel Death is waiting them in a nearby location, Hoon Homestead, for some intel on how to find and capture the Patriarch's lost child, Liberty Buchanan. At the moment, Ranger HQ is attacked by a bunch of skull collectors, who are sent by Liberty. After fighting their way out, the Rangers finally reach Hoon Homestead and meet Death. She tells the Rangers that Liberty is camped out with gangs she has rallied to her cause at the Yuma County Speedway, and in order to return Colorado to its permanent peace, Patriarch should also be taken down, as he is a tyrant. Following Death's instruction, the Rangers rescue a prisoner inside the Patriarch's basement, Ironclad Cordite, who is the former leader of Skull Collectors. Again, the Liberty has rallied. Then they take him along with the team to venture into Yuma County. From a spy, the Rangers learn that Liberty's power is so strong that it's hard to take her down directly, but there's plenty of infighting between the gangs she leads, which they can make use of. Then the Rangers confront Skull Collector's current leader, Steeltrap, accusing him of his treason, and restore Cordite's leadership. Afterwards, the Rangers find a Payaso soldier who has been killed by Godfishers and used it to sow discord between the two gangs, eventually making them fight each other. With the gangs removed from the equation, the Rangers finally confront Liberty and easily arrest her. On their way back to Colorado Springs, the Rangers receive a call from Angela Death, who asks them to stick to the plan by supporting her in a coup against the Patriarch. But the Rangers decide to honor their original orders from Ranger Command in Arizona and refuse Death's proposal. But when they return to Colorado Springs, Death and her men have already incited a riot there, cornering the Patriarch in downtown. The Rangers fight their way through and get there at reinforcements just in time to rescue the Patriarch. After persuading Death to give up and securing Patriarch's reign on Colorado, the Rangers get the reward from Patriarch of supply caravans sent to Arizona, as he has promised.